Before there were cigarettes, before there were brands, there was the leaf. Tobacco is one of the oldest forms of spirit communication known to humanity. Long before modern times, it was understood as a living messenger, a way for human intention to travel beyond the visible world and return with meaning. In the oldest traditions, tobacco was never a habit. It was a bridge, not something used to escape life, but something used to speak with it. Our ancestors knew breath as spirit itself, and smoke was breath-given form. When the leaf touched fire, it awakened. When guided by breath, it carried thought into the unseen. In that moment, intention became vapor, and prayer learned how to rise. It was never about getting high. It was about clarity, connection, making the invisible visible. That's the memory the leaf still carries. Radio Cigars.
Radio Cigar. Radio Cigar. Radio Cigar.
All right, let me raise my chair a little bit, y'all. Okay. All right, we're gonna have a good show tonight. My guest is making his debut. He was so kind, he even brought a snake with him. He was so kind, he even brought a snake with him. Wow. Well, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But shout out to everybody in the chat. We're gonna have a great show tonight. The internet is flooded with shows on near-death experiences. I mean, there's channels, whole channels dedicated to near-death experiences. So I seen this brother. First time I seen this brother, he was on Sonetta channel. Then and this was like 2 years ago, and I didn't really pay much attention, and he kept popping up, and I would see clips from the brother on TikTok and things like that. I'm like, you know what? I think I need to get the brother on the show. Without further ado, I want to welcome to the platform, making his debut, Tehuti. What's your full name? Because I just know Tehuti. What's your full name?
Tehuti, Amun, Hotep, Ra, but Tehuti alone is fine.
Okay, all right. There's like 1,000 Tehutis out here. So I'm like, there's like 1,000 dudes named Tehuti, man. So I'm like, shit, you like Tehuti number 57.
And people to sing me up, people do just call me Saba Tehuti. But the Saba is a word for teacher.
Okay, great. Excellent, man. Well, welcome to the platform, my brother. Welcome.
Nice for having me, brother Rich. I'm glad you've been checking me out. I'm glad you invited me. I've come across this platform a few times looking up some familiar names like Phil and some people that I'm familiar with from years back. Right. This platform would pop up, and I did notice the amount of views, which I'm very happy about because I'm glad people are interested in these type of topics at that number. Usually it's low numbers when it comes to people that look like us.
Yeah, a lot on YouTube for whatever reason. Yeah, our spiritual space doesn't get them huge numbers like I noticed in the white spiritual community, but things have changed. Also, I want to give a shout out because the clips I seen from you was from the Killer Priest podcast. So I want to give a shout out to Killer Priest and his podcast. Make sure y'all go check that out. That's how I seen the recent clips from this brother Tehuti or whatever. But listen, like I said, the topic near-death experiences. I understand you got a presentation tonight. I will say, I hope you ain't got no copyrighted content, do you? You don't know, do you?
No, I do have a couple clips of a video, but I don't think they're I played on my channel, and no, they're just clips of an interview of somebody 2 minutes of somebody that had near death. I don't think it's.
All right, well, fair use. Let me just say fair use, YouTube. Yeah. Fair use for whatever we're gonna play. But
you were asking me, I remember, about I'm sorry to cut you. Refinish. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, brother. What you was gonna say?
You were asking if when we spoke on the phone, if I had people wondering if I had a near-death experience. And I myself, I have not. I teach on how to do so, and I've guided people, and I've actually connected people with their deceased. So me myself, I've connected people with that maybe even in the chat right now, because that the other realm, the realm after this realm, still exists all around us, and I teach people that. And my main focus is to teach people that that was actually our way of life all throughout all parts of the world, all parts of Africa, was to reconnect with the other side. And I want to show where it originated from, how it was a way of life, and how scientists are studying it right now through scientific means and using ancient content to study the scientific means. But I want people to have confidence that life is not YOLO.
Exactly, right. And for those who don't know, that you only live once. Yeah, definitely great topic. What's the purpose of the snake? I would love to know. Why did you bring the snake? What does that symbolize, or what makes you? Yeah, tell me about the snake.
So this is Renunet. This is my cobra, and in ancient times and throughout the Nile Valley, the cobra was the oldest symbol and word for out-of-body experiences. It was called the seta or setut. Setut was the ancient word for echoing, and today they call it a pure energetic projectable double, which is the body's spiritual ability to echo out multiple doubles into higher refined etheric realms and travel. And the first symbol of it and word of it was seta, which I'm going to show today in one of the ancient texts. And it was the word for the cobra because of its unique way that it would raise up its body and expand its hood, which represented in ancient times consciousness. And if I lower, are you still there, Rich?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
If I lower my hat, you'll see something else. I don't know if you can.
What?
Do you see anything else?
A spider, tarantula.
Yeah. So that's these are the animals that actually inspired me when I was young. When I was around 7 or 8 years old, I spent a lot of time with animals and learned their structure and learned their discipline. And I realized something very unique, that regardless whether it was Native American cultures, Aztecs, Kemet, Sumer, India, one thing about all the cultures was that they used animals to represent their spirituality. And this language that is behind me right here, called Medunetter, is a language that's 95% composed of animals, which means that the ancient people had so much faith that the animals stayed strict in their ways that they decided to develop a language based on it. Because if the animals actually changed their ways and flip-flop like people, the sentences wouldn't make sense hundreds of years later, because the snake and the hippopotamus and animals would behave differently, and thus the meaning of the words would change. But because the ancestors had so much faith that the animals were so strict in their discipline that they could actually have sentence structures composed on what the animals meant, and have faith and hope that those sentence structures would last 5,000 years and still make sense 5,000 years later because of their discipline. They stayed the same. Whereas
I
people
could tell.
wish-wash.
I love that breakdown. I could tell this is gonna be a good one, Tehuti. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for this presentation. You wanna put it up on? You wanna start, my brother?
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We can go ahead and start. And
are you able to put it on the screen, or do I have to?
Let's see. Let me see. Share screen. Here, and tell me anything on the screen. It's the first one.
This right here?
Yellow writing. Okay, there we are. Yes.
Okay.
So first, I'd like to say peace and love to everyone in the chat. Thank you for having me. Open your mind. You all will love it. I don't know if there's a lot of NDE, out of body experience sessions here, but I'm sure by the comments I saw, a lot of people are very interested in it. And I want people to know that this is something that anyone can do with enough discipline and rigor and focus, and with proper diet and attuning yourself with the ancestors. So first, what I'm going to do is ask the class a question, ask the audience here a question. Have you ever had the experience where have you ever had an out of body experience? And have you ever felt that while you were sleeping in bed, you felt paralyzed, but at the same time, you felt like you were moving? So you felt like your body was moving. You remember screaming, you remember moving your body, but at the same time, you don't remember going anywhere. So it's kind of like you're doing all of this movement, but you're going, and there's no sound coming out. Has anybody in the audience experienced that sleep paralysis? And then after that, usually you either fall into a deep sleep or you end up having an experience where you feel like you're walking around your room. So this is sleep paralysis that takes place when certain parts of the brain, the GABA area of the brain, shuts down, causes inhibitors, which shut down the body so that the body doesn't move and hurt itself while it's sleeping and actually act out your dream states. This is sleep paralysis. This is one of the first steps to the acknowledgement and to the out of body, astral, and even to remote viewing. So today the question will be answered. What I want to focus on is the importance to experience. Why is it important to experience something like an out of body or astral projection? Hopefully not just once, but multiple times. We're going to go over the definition. We're going to go over, most importantly, whether this is a new age concept or something ancient that traces back to an ancient source. Was it practiced by cultures, or is it just something with the new age? I'm going to give the ancient sources, the documentations, the records, documented interviews, and the beautiful realization that everyone on the planet who is spiritual is actually that's seeking what the builders of the ancient people of Kemet or even other cultures brought to this planet, which was the ability to disconnect what appeared to be disconnecting from your body so that you could see multidimensionally and have multiple sights at once. This is actually a beautiful gift, and it's readily accessible with guidance and discipline, and can be used even to prolong your physical life, which we're going to find out today that doctors and scientists are actually using the science to actually prolong life. So we're going to get into the definition itself. Out-of-body experience. Out-of-body experience, or OBEs, are defined as experiences in which a person seems to be awake and sees the body and a world from a location outside of the physical body. More precisely, they can be defined by presence of the following three phenomenological characteristics. One, disembodiment, location of the self outside of the body. Two, the impression of seeing the world from an elevated or distanced visuospatial perspective or extracorporeal perspective, but egocentric, visual spatial, which means that it's you're seeing it from where you believe or feel that your body is. Three, the impression of seeing one's own body, autoscopy, from the perspective of either looking down on it or sideways at it. OBEs have been fascinating mankind from time memorial and are the abundance in folklore, what people call mythology, spiritual experiences of which most ancient and modern societies study and practice. Now, which spiritual book is this definition coming from? In actuality, what if I told you it's not? It's not this. What if I told you this is coming from Science Direct Progress in Brain Research, the boundaries of conscious neurology, neuropathy, neurobiology, neuropathy, and books that are running for about $280. So here is where this is coming from. It's not coming from any religious book or spiritual book. This is coming from scientists who are actually studying the progress in brain research and the boundaries of consciousness in neurobiology and neuropathology, neurobiology and neuropathology in these two books here, two forms of this book. And of course, these books are going for about $280, and they're not spiritual books, but these are things that scientists. So yes, this is getting interesting already. So this is a part of scientific research and study. Yes, thousands upon thousands of dollars are put into scientific research to study out-of-body experiences, near-death experience, but why? And that's what we're going to find out. What is the most beneficial reason as this class proceeds? And how is this experience described? Two, and what percentage of people have been recorded with having this out-of-body experience? We're going to get into December 18th, 2004, National Library of Medicine and the out-of-body experiences and neural basis. So here we're going to go right into this over here, and now see. So as you can see, we haven't gotten into an occult book yet. We haven't gotten to a spiritual book yet. We're dealing with what the scientists are studying and finding important. So when you try to talk to people about these experiences and they tell you that you're pseudo or you're spooked out or something is wrong with you, you can show them these references that scientists are spending thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars experimenting with this. This is the National Library of Medicine, December 2004, December 18th, out-of-body experiences and the neural basis. They are linked to multisensory and cognitive processing in the brain. And the experience, I was in bed and about to fall asleep when I had the distinct impression that I was at the ceiling level, looking down at my body in bed. I was very startled and frightened. Immediately afterwards, I felt that I was consciously back in the body and the bed again. Out-of-body experiences, as described by a person here, are characterized by a location of self or one center of awareness outside of the body, an impression of seeing the world from extracorporeal elevated perspective, and an impression of seeing one's own body from this perspective. They are a striking phenomenon because they challenge the experience spatial unity of self and body, or the experience of a real me that resides in one's body and is a subject of experience and action. Recent neurological evidence shows that these experiences are related to an interference in the temporal partial junction of the brain. A better understanding of out-of-body experiences might further our scientific concepts about self and body and their spatial unity. These have been influenced by diverse fields such as theology, philosophy, psychology, as well as neurology and psychiatry. Out-of-body experiences occur in about 10% of the population, most of the world's cultures, and several medical conditions to date. Nana, let me get some napkins. To date, only a few scientific investigations. So we see napkins. So we see the usual description. You got. Oh, let me grab something. Oh, wait. Okay. So we see the usual description as an ascension, the ability to look back down at your physical body, which is actually not moving. And there are 10% of the population that report. So of course, there's much more. But 10% that have been logged as reporting. But this is just for the documented, and here's where everything is going to take a change. Note that the scientific article said the out-of-body experiences are linked to multisensory and cognitive processing in the brain, which means the brain must be or should be alive and able to do the processing below. So here it is again, out-of-body experiences. They are linked to multisensory and cognitive processing. Okay, of the brain. Okay, I'm gonna move over here. Okay, oh, that's okay. But yet I will show you in Scientific America, September 14th, 2023. In here, some patients who died, quote unquote, but survived report lucid near-death experiences. A new study shows in some cardiac arrest patients, a flurry of brain activity during life-saving CPR may be a sign of near-death experiences. Most recently, this has become possible because of the research that has monitored the brains of people who have been in the throes of actually dying. Some of these individuals have been able to report back about what they experienced according to findings published September 14th in Resuscitation. The flatline brains of some cardiac arrest patients burst into a flurry of activity during CPR. Even though their heart stopped beating up to an hour, a small subset of study participants who survived were able to recall the experience, and one person was able to identify an audio stimulus that was played while doctors were resuscitating them. One moment, hold on a second. Let me just come off the Okay, let's get back to this. Here we go. Boom. Okay. Study participants who survived were able to recall experiences, and one person was able to identify an audio stimulus that was played while other doctors were trying to resuscitate them, which means that the person was conscious of what was happening, even though they were marked as flatline heartbeat, brain flatlined. They were able to tell what was happening around the room and actually describe it later. What happens when we actually die? When our heart stops and all electrical activity flatlines in our brain, the researchers interpret the brain recording. Excuse me. The researchers interpret the brain recordings they made of these patients as markers of lucid, recalled experiences of death, an observation that has never been possible before, says lead author Sam Parnia, an associate professor of medicine in NYU, long gone health, and longtime researcher of what happens to people as they die. We've also been able to put forward a coherent mechanistic explanation for why this occurs. So, boom, thus, your consciousness continues outside of your body, and you're able to perceive your surroundings after the heart has flatlined and the brain has died. Consciousness continues outside of the physical body. How would you like to know the immortal self-realization that takes place in the neurons due to the out-of-body experience, and if there are healing aspects, actual healing aspects pertaining to the importance of having an out-of-body experience? If the soul can come out of your body before death, then does it not mean that then that does not mean that you can go to what these Christians are calling heaven first before you physically die? How the Natiru along the Nile were the first to introduce OBEs, out-of-body experience, to the planet. If scientists are implementing this Natiru Kemetic introduction into the medical field, and how this ancient Natiru science was placed as a part of the Bible that the pastor actually never reads due to its mention shattering Christianity, and where to actually go to get direct teachings on how to practice out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences, OBEs, from Tehuti, and how the CIA, on top of all this, how the CIA spent hundreds of thousands of dollars using ancient Kemetic Natiru out-of-body practices to prove the existence of the Natiru. Then, of course, what time is it for? It's time to get into overdrive. Let's forwards to see, when did this out-of-body experience start? When was it first recorded? Who recorded it? And was it taught? And was it actually a part of culture? Not coming from anyone's opinion, not coming from just a thought or hearsay, but actually coming from the voice of the ancestors, because our ancient ancestors had a voice. They recorded things and they left them for people to study and read for thousands of years later, so we don't have to philosophize and make things up. So what is the very first mention of the out-of-body on the planet Earth? And that is right here. This is 2700 BC. This temple, or this building, is called the Longevity of Seated Speed Provided. They call this the pyramid text in the step pyramid, but the ancient people never called it that. They actually called it Longevity of Seated Speed Provided. Of course, the atheists and those who had the agenda of removing spirituality had to remove this name, so they just gave it this word pyramid or step pyramid. But again, this is called, in the language, this building is called the Longevity of Seated Speed Provided. We're going to find out why. So yes, we knew that the earthly physical state had limits. So the earthly physical state had limits, and then in order to be aware of the dimension that was unlimited, we had to echo or transfer our consciousness from an energetic fuel base. This was in ancient times called the Ka, and echo it upwards into what's called the pure energetic projectable double, that became known in ancient times as the Ba. Today, they're calling it the pure energetic projectable double. Thus, the consciousness will be what's called cloaked, or rather transferred, to an echo body that hovers above the physical body, and thus clothed in another body that can reside on that more refined dimension, just as your spirit Ka is now clothed in what's called your physical body for this dimension. Thus, each constant conscious transference never really leaves the body, but is echoed from one energetic clothing to another. This is why I introduced back into this world, I introduced back the forgotten consciousness, that the oldest word for out of body was actually setut, which means to walk out of your body, which is actually creating an energetic double, each of which is a clothing for consciousness. So the oldest terminology for out-of-body experience was actually the word setut, which meant to walk out and echo, because your out of body are actually multiple experiences of pure energetic projectable doubles constantly echoing from one source to the next, and each one that it echoes up to is the more refined state that it can actually reside in. So here is the actual ancient, so here is New Age images of out of bodies. And when you look at New Age images of out of bodies, you'll sometimes see that it looks like echoing taking place. We'll find out that the oldest record for the out of body was the term setut. Setut was a word that meant to make a copy or a double of something, and found in one of the oldest, the most ancient writings of spirituality out of body, called the Purim Haru. Coming forth of my ba, my soul. The word ba itself means double, as I walk in every place. So as you come out, the word is walking, but the way that one walks is not with physical legs. The way that one walks is actually echoes out. One echoes out a more refined state, and that one echoes out a more refined state. And that's why you see in modern day New Age books, out-of-body experiences look like echoes. And that is because in 1250 BC, going all the way down to 2700 BC, the term for walking out of the body was the word for echoing something or making a copied image of something, that which is tut. That which is the word S, and then tut is the word for echo. That's where you get the word King Tut from. King Tut is in the word echo, or an image of something, through their constant echoes. And again, the energetic fuel base was called the Ka, and that echoes upwards and creates what's called the pure energetic projectable double. That became known as the Ba, which is a word that means double. Thus, the consciousness will be clothed, or rather transferred, reclothed in an echoed body that hovers above the physical body. And just to add, the reason why it appears that you're having a sleep paralysis and you're moving is because your consciousness shifted to the energetic projectable double that's actually hovering above the physical body, and that's the body that's moving around, that your consciousness knows is screaming and moving around. But your physical body, because a part of your consciousness is there, that's the one that's still, that's the one that's paralyzed. So your memory of it, once you reintegrate back into the physical body, was that you were moving around, screaming, yelling, but nothing was happening. That's because of the transference and echo upwards of what was called the Satut in ancient times in 2700 BC. Each of these echoed bodies exist in a more refined state. And in ancient times, we call this the Ak. Ak was a word that was the original word for what people are calling pyramid as well. It's a word that meant light. And it was your spirit consciousness that's clothed in your physical body for this dimension. Thus, each conscious transference never really leaves the body, but is echoed from one energetic clothing to another energetic clothing. Thus, what is the state in the oldest record of consciousness in the out of body when we go back to 2700 BC? Back. How content is your situation to become an Ak? That's the ancient word for spirit, Oteti, among your brothers of the Natiru, the gods. How different is it? So how different is this situation of this new refined state that you're in? How is it so much different than your physical realm that you're used to? By whom your child saved. Beware of your limit on earth, because on the physical plane, the physical body is limited. We're on the etheric plane, the etheric body is less limited. And what does it say? Get dressed in your body and come forth. Because each of these echoes is a dressing of the Ka. The Ka resides in each of these ones, and it echoes upwards and upwards and upwards. So you never have to worry about your body being left empty, because your pure energetic projectable double is echoing from the Ka, the bioenergetic template, which stays within the physical body. You're protected. The physical body is never left until after death. Each of those are just a clothing or a cloak that is more refined for that consciousness to dwell in that realm, right? So in the out-of-body experiences, because out-of-body experience were not discussed as a child in the Matrix, any conscious experience at nighttime, they just gave you this word dream. Dream is a hypnotic mind control word, which I'm about to show you very soon. It's a word that was purposely created. It's not the actual real word for what the ancients use, and it has a completely different definition when they created the word, but it's an incorrect word that was named so by those who did not actually believe in the power of lucid dreaming or out of body, or being or going to the quick gateway of the out of body called the Saba, or the gateway, the light doorway. This word that they gave us, dream, is a word that we use every day, but guess what the actual word dream means? They gave you this word because the people that this was being explained to never believed in the experiences. So when we actually go to the etymology of the word dream, we see that the word dream that they gave us for these beautiful experiences that sometimes take place in your mind, sometimes take place in the out of body, but they only gave us the word dream as a child. It's an actual word that actually derives from the word deception, illusion, to deceive, to delude, seek harm, injure, lie, deceive. And this means that the original people that were being told about these experiences that took place at night did not believe when they created this word dream to describe it. They said, you're being deceived, you're being lied to, this is harmful, there's something dangerous happening. Whereas the ancient people used dreams as a beautiful gift to go into multi-dimensions. But in the English and the Matrix, it totally changes. So now the word dream means to deceive, to lie. This was named so by the powers that be to diminish and even demonize what the ancients used that was extremely powerful. I'm going to reintroduce the true meaning, the true word, the pre-Matrix word for dream. I introduced it decades ago, but I'm going to do it again. The actual original word for dream, two words, was upesh and res. And we're going to see how the ancient ancestors use these words, which had a completely different meaning from what is called dream today. So the real words is or upesh and res, and they understood that thousands of years ago, you go into what appears to be, let me move this over a little bit. Sorry, I'm going to move over just a little bit. So we understood that thousands of years ago, that in what appears to be a dreamlike state, you're actually still conscious and able to leave your body and see what is going on around you, because it was your light conscious body that was moving about and was awake. So I've shown you before, I've shown people before, but for the new people that are here, because I am new here, this will be the first time seeing it. Here are the definitions originally of the words dream prior to the Matrix, before they created the word dream, which meant lie, when we were in our pure state. Here are the oldest words that are found 2700 BC prior to the English. And here's the words right here for dream. And you can see why the Matrix had to rename the words, because they didn't want you to know these definitions. Here's the word right here, upesh. So here's the word for dream. And the word dream in ancient times before the Matrix meant to give off light. It meant to shine, to illuminate. You see it at the bottom, upesh. Dream was to be in a state where you gave off light. Let me take you to page 2 of the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary. Here's the word rezi. So this is the other word for dream that we had in ancient times. Here it is, dream. Notice that there's an open eye for the word dream. So even though this is the word dream, something that we're taught is happening when our physical eyes are closed, the ancient word for dream had an open eye. Why did it have an open eye? Because when you look up the word rezi, it means to wake up. This was when you actually woke up. In the dream state is when you actually were conscious. This was a state that you could have lucid dreamings, out of bodies, OBEs, and even remote viewing. So we had specific words to describe these experiences. When the Matrix came in and heard about these experiences, they removed upesh, they removed rezi, they removed the original names that meant being consciousness and giving off light, and they replaced it with the word dream, which means you're being deceived, you're being lied to. No. We knew that we were awake. We knew that we were giving off light. We knew that we were conscious, and we actually could probe our subconscious from lucid dream into out-of-body experiences, which eventually would lead in a near-death experience if you're in a dangerous situation. So boom, to be illuminated and shining as your conscious body moves smoothly as the waves of water in the controlled conscious boats, because in ancient times we used consciousness associated with a boat and a paddle, and you're actually keeping awake. So in the awakened state, your eyes were open to the double dimension that permeates. So there's a double dimension that permeates and echoes this one. It looks just like this one. It is the first stage of the astral plane. As you get into other higher multi-dimensions, the higher multi-dimensions don't look like this one anymore, but the first stage of the astral plane looks like an echo of this one. The New Age conscious Kemetic teachers were lied to by atheists, only to teach that Maat meant order, when the word Maat actually means vision. The word for Ma'at was the exact same image as the word for Rezi, which was the vision. It wasn't eye, it was the examination, because in that realm, people call today the astral plane, which is the echo of this one, you could see what's called the dual sight. That is exactly what our ancestors said prior to the Matrix, and atheists removing that meaning from the word Ma'at. So the original word Ma'at that we see here was a word that means to see. It was the ability to examine things. You could see things. And there you see the exact same eye. And they had to remove this definition and just tell you that Ma'at means order and justice. And they only give you that definition. I had to come and show you, no, in the writings, the word Ma'at is an open eye. It's the exact same eye as one who has a dream that can see into multi-dimensions, because the difference between understanding that Ma'at is from order to vision or examine means that you're a participant in it. You are the observer, you're the participator. Order is something that can exist without you. Examination has to exist within you. So it goes from something that is outside of you to something that is a verb. You participate in it. And that's a very extreme, important meaning of the word ma'a, which is to examine something. It makes you responsible, and it shows that you can see things in the physical realm and in the dream state. We call this the double realm, where you can actually catch the negativity before it gets into the physical. You can denounce and separate yourself from the negative physical toxins in this realm, because things actually happen there first. So we had to bring this to the world to let the world know. The ancients called this what was called Peka Mku. This was the ancient word that meant to separate, ancient sentence that meant to separate yourself from negative consciousness. This is what got misconstrued as the laws of Ma'at, 42 laws of Ma'at, of which there's no such thing as that. It was called the Peka Mku. The concept was to be in an out-of-body state and to separate yourself from negative consciousness that would be brought into that realm, as we see here in the chapter 30 of the oldest mobile writing of out-of-body experiences that goes back to 1250 BC. It was called the Perm Haru. When your out-of-body, pure energetic projectable double enters into the dimension of what the ancient people called the Usect. So the Usect here, and here it is. This was the Usect. It was a realm of double sight. They have Ma'ati, double Ma'ati, because the word Ma'ati is sight, vision, examination. And this realm was the doubled realm of the physical realm. And in this double realm, where you could examine things there before they got to the physical realm, you could do what's called Peka Mku and separate yourself from negative Ku. Ku is an ancient word for consciousness. And that's why you see the word seeing here of the gods, the word seeing, Ma'ah. That's the word right there. And there's the eye right there. It's a word for seeing things, examination, because you were able to go and see these things before they happen in the physical realm. And I'm going to show you a doctor. Doctors are actually using this principle, using this concept, and they're going into this realm to see the disease before it happens in the physical realm. This is something that we spoke about over 4,000 years ago. In the oldest writing of out-of-body experiences, I have arrows here pointing to this realm right here. Here's the image of the realm. And this is called the double Ma'ati, where I have the two arrows pointing, the realm of double vision, where you're able to go into that realm and you're able to see things, negative things, and remove them from your consciousness before you fully go into the near-death experience or the out-of-body realm, because you do not want to go there with an impure, contaminated body of a conscious body, toxins. So here's the word Upesh again. And you notice that Upesh has the feather of a Ma'at right inside of the word for dream, the light examination in that double realm called Ma'ati, the double realm of vision, and the realm because the origin of the physical realm that you can see things in within your consciousness and your physical body that needs to be healed before they manifest in the last stage. So the physical realm is the last stage in which things manifest. And thus you can examine things here in this realm and go in that realm subconsciously and spiritually, and then repair them before the affection of the physical, before it affects the physical, and well before they become large scale. This is a major gift to be able to attain, and one of the most important reasons or purposes of having out of bodies and near-death experiences, which we're going to show shortly. So that's in the realm of the pure energetic projectable double that the ancients called Ma'ati, which meant double vision, because you're in a realm where things look double to this one, but they happen there before they happen here, because time doesn't exist over there. You can change things over there in that realm. The Ka, the energy, is that which forms the physical body. Thus, if you cross over into that realm in the state of what is called today the out of body, your senses actually heighten, and you can see that which is forming an illness before it coming into the physical reality, because it is the Ka. We taught that the Ka, the energetic double, is what forms the physical body. So things take place in that realm first, and it actually states it. The ancient ones stated And we're here to give a voice to the ancient people, because the ancient people wrote what they believed in, they wrote what they knew, and what they taught thousands of years ago is what scientists are studying today. So here it is, the Ka, the energetic projectable double, is what's sourcing and fueling the pure energetic projectable double. Thou art my double. The word Ka is double within my body. So there's a double body that looks like this physical one, but it exists first, and it's within the physical body. And it says, thou art my Ka within my body. And what does the Ka do? It forms and makes the limbs. So the Ka is what's forming, because things take place there first. And thus you can catch things that happen in that etheric realm or that double realm first before they get there. And that's how ancient people were able to, quote unquote, time travel and heal things, because in that realm, things are happening there first. So if you can go there and catch the thing that's taking place and remove it from your subconscious or remove it from your physical before it gets here, that would be technically time traveling, because you're dealing with the situation before it gets into this physical time realm. And there it is from the words of our ancestors in 1250 BC. And thus, guess what doctors like Dr. Defont Shah, there's a doctor named Dr. Defont Shah, discovered about the appearance of disease, in which realm it appears in first. So there's a doctor today, well, there's a few of them, but he's one of the headliners. His name is Deshvant Shah, and he discovered this. And I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is a few seconds here. And let me go ahead and play this and see. Maybe Rich has to put it on for me. Let me see.
Which one is it? Because you got a couple of.
One says aura.
I don't see any of them. Is it? Hold on.
Yep, aura.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can't hear the volume.
I don't think it's playing yet. It's stuck on.
No, it's the thing is moving.
Huh. The video is not moving. That's strange. Oh, let me see. Here we go. Will it work here? Oh, let me try it one other way. That will probably get the volume back. How about like this then? Here it is. Okay, good. I'm gonna do it this way, Rich. This should be much better here. I'll play it right from the Google Chrome. So I'll go to screen share, share screen, Google Chrome. Okay. Okay, tell me if you hear this, Rich.
Of diagnosing the problems of malfunctions of various organs and systems long before they appear in physical body. Dr. Jaswant Shah, an alternative therapist specialized in curing heart disease, a PhD holder in alternative medicines and world record holder in Limca books, has brought India a Russian technology called a Kirlian photography camera, which takes the photo of energy aura body and identifies the problem 6 to 8 months prior than they appear in physical body.
Did you hear that, Rich? Was the sound on?
Yeah, the Kirlian technology, the aura. When you take the aura photos.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. And okay, great. And they were able to find the disease forming 6 to 8 months before it came into the physical body.
Right.
That's
right.
That's the important part I wanted to point out there. Okay. Thank you, Rich. Let me go back to this. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So as we see, the ancient ones said that the double body, the etheric body, is that which forms the physical body. So those things take place there first, and that's why this individual's been on CBC, Fox, NBC, ABC. Dr. Jaswant M. Shah. So Dr. Jaswant M. Shah brought this technology to India in 2022. Since then, let me shrink this down. Okay, since then, He has worked for the well-being of humanity, and for that, he has conducted many seminars and workshops throughout Maharashtra and Gujarat, with 25 years of experience in alternative medicines, remedies for healthy heart, and aura photography or Kirlian photography. Dr. Deshwant Shah has become the most prominent face who has brought this technology to India. He has specialized in curing heart disease and is also a PhD holder from the University of Colombo in alternative medicines. He is also the world record holder in Limca's book. At his age, he has a goal to keep this society free from dangerous heart disease, which is causing a breakage in the development of the nation. His passion is to make heart math technology available to every human around the country. So yes, using the light consciousness that exists as the double in this realm, that's the type of the realm, holds consciousness of the disease 6 to 8 months prior to it manifesting in the physical realm. It exists in the late realm, in that realm, and in the mental consciousness, having an out-of-body experience and being able to see with the true eyes, with the Rezi and the Upesh and the Ma'a eyes, within the double of the Ma'ati in that realm, you'll be able to see and search mental illness before it becomes physical, and you'll be able to what's called Pekka Mku, which is separate yourself from negativity, consciousness, and the Param Haru as stated inside of the Param Haru. So welcome to this pod class. And here we go. So once, and this is the chart that they showed on the video, once several people, now here's where it gets very, very interested, because now we're going to branch off from India to throughout America here. Once several people started to realize that these out-of-body multidimensional experiences were a way to tap into the true eye to see the dimension of which illness began, and some, without even knowing the procedure, came out of the experiences healed. They started holding conferences. These conferences were called eons, or IANDS conferences. This one was some of the results that were logged in 2010. It was found that within the realm, and within that realm, they're actually able to come back, and that which was resulted in their death was actually reversed. So not only were they healed, but they were healed specifically of the thing that caused them death in the first place. And here it is right here, near-death experience reveals secret to rapid healing. One of the most miraculous aspects of the many near-death experiences is the almost immediate physical healing of the body, generally from that which caused the death of the physical body in the first place. Experiencers have reported going into immediate remission from cancer. Others have had tumors disappear. The trauma victims experience accelerated healing of bones, organs, and tissues. Generally, near-death experiences report overall rapid healing after having experienced time in this afterlife. They end up getting healed of the thing that actually caused them to die in the first place. Yes, time out of the body, when those who visited that realm in which they associated with an afterlife, is really just another continued life. But they did not know that at that time. When they crossed over into that realm, they experienced not just random healing, but the actual healing of that which caused them the death in the first place. They came back into this side. And in one popular case, one of the most popular cases was a female named Anita Moorjani, who was diagnosed with what's called Hodgkin's cancer. The Hodgkin cancer was so bad, it got to a point where it took over 70% of her body, and it overwhelmed her with tumors the size of golf balls. I'm going to play a couple seconds of that here. Footage. I'll get rid of this one, remove from studio. And so, see if this one plays with sound. Please, Rich, I'm not sure if it's not sound. I hope it does. Okay, I'm going to stop that. So what I have to do is the same thing. I'll go over here and put it right here. And now this will play. Oh, perfect. StreamYard, here it is. I'm going to get this one off the screen, and I'm going to go for this. Boom. Okay, here it is, right here. So here's Anita right here with her.
And then my husband, I mean, he woke up and then he was waiting for me to get up. And then by 9 o'clock, my eyes hadn't opened. I hadn't woken up and he was waiting for me to wake up. And then he started to notice, like when he moved the blanket, he noticed that my arms and legs were swollen, very, very swollen up. And so he started to panic and he called the doctor right away. And the doctor said, the doctor knew immediately what was wrong. He knew right away that those are the symptoms of the organs failing, that I was suffering from organ failure. Now, this was the end of it. The doctor didn't tell him that over the phone. The doctor said, just bring her to the hospital right now. He said, I'm going to arrange it right now. And he told my husband which hospital. I'd never been in this hospital before because I'd just been going to the local clinic until then. So he just told my husband, bring her to this particular hospital right now. And so I was rushed to the hospital.
Yeah, Tehuti, it's real hard to hear this. A lot, I could barely hear it, and the people talking about they can't hear it that good. Could you just tell us what's going on?
And when...
Oh, you're on mute too. Hold up.
Oh,
yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, you're good. The volume was low though, so I'd rather not play it no more.
Thank you. Okay, no problem. Okay, so Anita had 70% of her body with the Hodgkin's tumors the size of golf balls. They wanted to put her through the chemotherapy. She had a friend that had died of a similar cancer, and she refused to go into the therapy. She went to alternative therapies, and then she went into a state where she passed. She actually died, and then she came back. She actually, when she was on that side, she saw her relatives, and her relatives who had passed told her that she can't come any further than where she is now. She can talk to them from the distance of where she's talking to them, but if she was to move any further towards them, she would cut off that cord that people are calling today the silver cord. She would cut off that cord, and then she would have to continue on this side. She was told to go back, and when she went back, the doctors noticed that every of those tumors that covered 70% of her body were gone. So the doctors, and of course atheistic disbelief, they said they misdiagnosed her. They misdiagnosed her, and she was going through this for months and months and months. She saw it on the x-rays, and now they say, oh, that never really even happened. But she knows that it happened. She has the x-rays, she has all the files and everything, and she basically came back feeling much better. Everything was healed. They only told her she had a couple weeks to live, actually. So that's what happened in that video. So not only did she get healed from the exact thing that was happening, the physical balls that were in her body were gone, and she spoke to her deceased family members that was telling her what was going on and telling her what threshold not to cross. And it's one of the most important things of that type of experience, if you go to that side and actually come back healed, because it is the only way you can come back, because if you don't get healed, you would actually continue to die. So something on that side has a purification, which we're going to find out very shortly. There's a purification process that takes place if one decides to come back, and the doctors have no explanation for it, but it is something that our ancient ancestors taught for thousands of years and has been recorded and is still there that you can read about today. And so atheists want you to believe that no, none of this happens. It's all spooked out. It's all pseudo. There's no out of body. There's no near death. And she came back actually describing what was taking place and what the doctors were doing when she was unconscious beyond her physical sight. And she was supposed to be in a comatose unconscious and then flatline dead state, but she was actually able to tell what was taking place in the room. That's a summary of that, Rich.
Wow, this is some good stuff, man. I appreciate all this information you bringing. That was good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we're still going. Here we go.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. And here we go. So the golf ball sized tumors were gone. And she received guidance on that side, and she came back. Okay. Now, happened. Something must have happened because here's her being interviewed, and after that, she was told that she had only days left to live. I basically summarized these two videos here. Here she is extremely happy. If anybody wants to check her out, Anita Moorjani, Dying to Be Me, and go look her up. Just a mere choice. She made the choice. Oh, that's also something she focused on when she was telling the story, that she had a choice to come back. She had a choice to come back and be healed. So it wasn't a random thing. She was conscious on that side, while simultaneously she was conscious on this side. She described that she saw her younger brother and her father, and that she was one with them. She was separate from them in that realm, but at the same time, she was able to feel their feelings, empathically feel their emotions, talk through them. She said it was a realm where everything became one. There was a mental conscious unity in that realm, and she chose to come back. In order to come back and continue the life here, the situation of those tumors, all those images would end up, that brought her to that afterlife, couldn't exist. And thus a mere will of consciousness to return triggered a natural law to be in sync with the conscious action that not only was physically healed, but as she states, she came back healed of her fears. That's another important aspect of out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences, is that most people that have these experiences, when they come back, their fear of death is gone. Most of the things that we do in life that generate what we do is driven by a fear of death, because we don't know about what happens on the other side. And thus, once you have a fear of death, people of religion, man-made religion, can come and manipulate your lack of knowledge on the other side. And of course, this is how organized, institutionalized religion now becomes born, to fill in the gaps of what our ancestors didn't need those gaps, because they had the explanations and the elaborations, and they knew that they were the gods and they were in control, and that they could go on that other side and come back at will, as it states in the ancient text. So she was healed of fears in life. So not even just fear of death, but other things. So she came back, and now her nervousness was gone. Things that she was afraid to do in front of people, that was gone. She was a whole new person. Once you remove the fear, because what happens in your body is fear actually knocks out the limbic system. Once the limbic system is knocked out, your amygdala and your hippocampus area of the brain cannot function and retain memory properly, and thus you have what's called a reset. And if your limbic system knocks out the hippocampus function of memory, you don't remember what took place in the past unless you start to make spontaneous decisions out of high, what's called adrenocorticotropic. And your adrenocorticotropic and your potassium channels are so open and moving so fast that you're now making decisions based off of fear, based off of panic. And now what happens, the limbic system's cut off, the reptilian brain starts to become more activated, because that's your fight or flight area. And now you're making what's called self-sabotage decisions out of a fear situation. When those fears are gone, now you can sit back, calmly think, sleep on it, and make rational decisions. These are some of the most important aspects of out-of-body experiences and near-death experiences. And 4,000 years ago, long before the Matrix, the Natiru stated and taught us that in that parallel dimension, in the out-of-body, we are at one with all things. Because that was one thing she was focusing on. She said, I felt like I was one with all things. I felt like my spirit was connected with my other family members, and there wasn't really a separation. Well, 4,000 years prior, the ancients already recorded this, that the Ka was one with all things in that realm. And this is recorded in what's called the Nefer Aset Sapti, that they're telling you is called the pyramid text. It's really called the Nefer Aset Sapti. And this is in utterance 50. This is 2700 BC. So here we now are in, and we can see where the ancient word for cerebrum means to shoot out light. So here's the ancient word 4,000, 5,000 years ago for a cerebrum, and it meant to shoot out light. We understood the neurological aspects, and we understood the consciousness could shoot out of the body, even in a state that appeared to be dead. And that's why it states here in utterance 50, O Ray, you are adorned in heaven, adorned for Unas, Lord of all things, for your body are all things. The Ka, which is your pure energetic projectable, your energetic template of Unas, they're all things. The Ka and the energy that permeates inside of you is connected to all things. And once you understand that, you will start to make better decisions in life, and you will understand that you are a mere you're a mere speck that's important, like a drop in the ocean is important, but it can be removed. Once it's removed, it's not as powerful as the ocean, but millions and millions of drops create waterfalls, rivers, tornadoes. And once you understand that you are a part of all of these things, you now do not have the fear, and you don't try to control things anymore. You cooperate. People always ask me, Tehuti, when you do magic, are you controlling the thing? Are you making that thing move with your mind? Are you telepathic doing this? No. You're not controlling it, because that puts you as a slave master. You're not controlling it. You are in tune and working in partnership with the thing, in symbiosis with the thing. And thus magic can be performed now, because you understand that you're one with those things. And for those who do not believe what the Natiru taught, or may have no idea if they're living witnesses to this teachings, let me take you back to Anita's testimony. So the video is low. So the teachings of the Natiru confirmed again, we taught in that realm, you reach what's known as what's called Kem. Kem is a word that means completeness in that realm. The reason why people confuse the word Kem with black as in a skin color is because Chem is all the colors in the visual light spectrum. So you have red, yellow, blue, green, orange, purple, and violet, multiple colors, and all those colors control your reality. That means that everything that you see that you can identify, you're identifying it because one of the reasons it looks different from the other object is because it's another color, it's another shape. So you say all these colors combined, when they come together in the visual light spectrum, they actually form the color black, and that is completion. It symbolizes the unity of all those things that you believe are all different colors and all separate, and that was the word Chem. And when all those colors combine, they create what's called black. Not the skin color, but the actual combination of completion. And that's why the ancient word Chem meant completion. That's what it actually meant. So the teachings in that realm, when you reach that, when you reach that realm, it's completion. And in that realm, it's called Samawi. Samawi, unified or linked consciousness. You can interact with your ancestors. So in this realm called the Samawi, now you can interact with your ancestors. And that's why Anitra, when she said she was over there, one of the first things she saw was her ancestors or her family members. And we see it right here in the Perm Haru. This is 1250 BC. What does it say here? In that great house, in that great realm, there's a realm of what's called darkness. The realm of darkness is called Samawi. I've come to thee. I'm a Ku. That's consciousness. I'm glorious. I'm pure. My hands are behind thee. Thy portion. What? With the ancestors. That's called the Tepu. The Tepu ancestors. Give me my mouth that I may speak. This got transferred in the physical culture, which is why you see many African ancient cultures, and even to this day, when they're amongst the elders, they say, may I have the permission to speak? May I speak, please? May I speak, please? Because in the ancient writings, we taught that when we got over to the other side, it was your ancestors that gave you the ability to speak in this dark realm of darkness called the Samawi. This is 1250 BC, so people know this is not New Age teachings. This is what our ancestors said in the out-of-body realm of unified consciousness, which is why the typo here. Your family members, you see your family members simultaneously, and you're speaking, but you're not separated from them simultaneously. You feel that you're one with them, and you're speaking to them at the same time. This is what our ancestors taught. So the same name for the echo, what's called the Samawi, also meant what? In this realm that's called the Samawi, the darkness realm, what did it also mean? Because our ancestors knew that it was a realm to. What did it mean? Here it is, intelligence, to report. So the same word for the realm of the darkness where things are complete and you're communicating with the ancestors while simultaneously feeling that you're one with the ancestors, that same word means to report news, intelligence, because the whole realm is intelligence. You're inside of the mental plane, inside of that dark mental plane, and that's why there doesn't seem to be any separation between you and the ancestors in that realm, even though you can identify with them individually, but they're all unified, because the same word for the connection and the same word for that realm is the same word for intelligence and consciousness itself. This is what our ancestors taught 2700 BC, 1250 BC, and is to inform intelligence, consciousness, the entire realm itself, which is called the double Ma'ati, the double realm of vision, which was to examine things, and the double interdimensional typo value. Oh, that's a typo there. So the consistent consciousness, whereas Anita described her and those she was speaking with on that side were all united as one consciousness. So thus, guess what the other meaning of the double realm is? So the same word Smawi, there's also a realm for consciousness. That's a typo, not room, but realm for consciousness. What does it also mean? So we can't play the footage because it's low. So she said she had the feeling of being one and connected to all of these people, and she could feel their emotions of all the things. And she said it seemed like everything was happening at one time, because in that realm, there is no time as we have it here. So all things appear to be happening parallel at the same time. And even before they happen in the physical realm, simultaneously, she said she's receiving information. And again, what did our ancestors call this out-of-body realm and the definition for it? So it was called the Smawi, which was a word that meant the dark realm, and Smawi, which meant intelligence and informing. So what did our ancestors also say the word Smawi meant? Boom, to unite oneself. To unite oneself. Here we go. So the same realm, to unite, to join something or someone, to report news. The same word to join something is the same word for intelligence, inform, to report the news. And that's why our ancient ancestors said in 2700 BC, the Ka of Unas are all things. Your body are now all things, because you're unified in this realm of consciousness, this mental realm. You're united with other things and other beings on that side. And you can receive intelligence because it's a mental realm, the realm of light. The same reason why the word for cerebrum brain meant to shoot out fire, the same word. So now people say, well, Tehuti teaches that the ancients in Maat practice what's called Peka Mku, out-of-body process of separating the mind's consciousness from distorted memory frequencies of the past, because in the final out-of-body, and here's where it's going to get very interesting, in the final out-of-body, there's a burst of Ku light. It is called the Sekhem. The ancient word for memory is Sekhem. In the Medu, that flashes all memories that will be seen on the other side, that is composed of light. For the judgment of your consciousness on that other side, which is held within you, that light. And this is what has been misconstrued as what people call the 42 laws of Ma'at, which I had to bring back to the world's consciousness, its real name, which was Peka Mku, which was the flash of consciousness and the removal of negative consciousness that takes place right at the time of death. It's called Peka Mku, which means to separate. Peka is a word that means to separate. M means from, and Ku is a word of consciousness, to separate from negative consciousness. So Tehuti teaches as a flash of light that takes place where you have to see all of your life deeds right before death. Here it is again in the realm of the hall of double Ma'ati, in the separating of negative consciousness, the Peka Mku, from what people call the translation sins, but it's really negative consciousness. And thus, all that you have done and seeing, and all the gods and all the energies in their faces, they're right over there. They're seeing this flash of consciousness and deeds that take place, because that's the last thing you saw in the field takes place, and then you bring it over to that realm. That this out-of-body practice for the final out-of-body flashes of your consciousness to give you a life review in your dying state after you have traveled through what appears to be a tunnel structures, and you will encounter what's called light beings or entities after you Peka Mku, or separate from negative consciousness. The cleansing prepares you for the afterlife transition, That is what Tehuti teaches and the ancestors teach. Well, guess what? Modern day scientists have discovered about our out-of-body near-death experiences. Let me take you to National Library of Medicine, what's called Front Cycle, March 5th, 2025, and Scientific America, September 14th, 2023. What do they thing that I just stating it? An encounter with death, a comparative thematic and content analysis of naturalistic DMT experiences and near-death experiences. Results, what does it say? Canonical NDE. Themes identified across the DMT experiences include translocation, what else? Bright lights, what else? Sense of dying, void, disembodiment, what else? Tunnel-like structures because you're going through vortexes. What do you see? Light beings, entities. What do you see? Deceased family members, that's your ancestors. And what happens? A lifelike review, a hyper-empathic experiences. Total of 95% participants reported at least one of these. 12 less typical NBE notices were also noted. All of these things, the vortex, tunnel-like structures, sense of dying, your ancestors, family members, and just like the ancestors said, Pekka Mku, light flashes of all your second memories, and you get a light review, and it continues on to September 14, 2023. Now we're in Scientific America. Some patients who died but survived report lucid near-death experiences. A new study shows in some cardiac arrest patients, a flurry of brain activity during life-saving CPR may be a sign of near-death experience. And now I'm going to read the rest of it that I didn't read before. In the dying brain, however, the researchers hypothesize that the braking system is removed. Parts that are normally dormant, they become active as you're dying. And the dying person gains access to their entire consciousness. And the dying person gains access to their entire consciousness. All your thoughts, all your memories, everything that has been stored before, Parina says. We don't know the evolutionary benefit of this, but it seems to prepare people for their transition from life onto death. This is what our ancestors said was the preparation transition, was that all of your light consciousness, Pekka Mku, flashes in front of you because that's your last memory. As DMT is activated, you're flashed over onto that side, and now you have all of your memories in front of you on that side, giving off a light. So the goal is to remove the negative thoughts. But here are the scientists studying and saying that all your life memories, everything that's been stored before you, your entire consciousness is gained right at the time of death. But they say, because they don't know, they say, we don't know why this process happens. We don't know why this is an evolutionary process because they don't have the rest of the story. The rest of the story coming from the ancestors. There it is. Everything that the Netzer brought thousands of years ago within the ancient text, and what was to happen in the final out-of-body from the tunnel passageways to the light beings, entities, all the way to the Pekka Mku memory, life review, flash of consciousness, light through DMT, all brought to us from the greatest importance of our out-of-body, which is the practice of immortality. And our ancestors taught this thousands of years ago, and now scientists are studying it, and they're confused as to why this is happening. And watch how this ends. Here we go. But yeah, they're studying all of this out-of-body, multi-dimensional consciousness leading to immortality through what's called multi-pointed sight. So now we're going to get into multi-pointed sight. Multi-pointed sight perception was all taught originally on the planet in the inner walls of the structures that were specifically built for the out-of-body travel. This is called the Unas Nefer Aset Sapti, or the Aku Mer, which people are miscalling a pyramid. It was never called, the ancestors never heard of a word called pyramid. They had to give you the word pyramid to remove what it actually was. The ancestors never called it a pyramid. They called the Unas Nefer Aset Sapti, which is the longevity of seated speed provided. That's what this structure was for, and the name describes it specifically. It translates as the longevity of seats, expanding light seats of speed provided, of attraction today. They call it the step pyramid. Now, this is where the writings of the teachings of the out-of-body was first brought to the world in world history. What if I were to tell you that the CIA Guess what, Rich? What if I were to tell you that the CIA is also studying and practicing out of body, and they used it? And guess what they saw? I'm going to take you to the official CIA official report, 2008 release. This is CIA.RD P96007888R00 190076001 .9. This is back from 1984. The approved release came out 2008. And let's see what it says. CIA report, method of site acquisition. We're going to get into what this is called multi-pointed consciousness, because now, understanding that in that realm, all things can be seen. Now you don't have to actually travel there in the out of body. You can just acquiesce the consciousness and actually see it while your out of bodies are still in the room with you. So now there's a sealed envelope, and this is what became known as remote viewing. The sealed envelope coupled with what's called geographic coordinates. So they sealed the envelope. It was given to the subject immediately prior to the interview. The envelope was not opened until after the interview. In the envelope, this was a 3x5 card with the following information: planet Mars. So now they're going to travel. The CIA is going to travel to the planet Mars using out of body in what's called one-pointed consciousness. They want to go to a particular time period. What time period do they want to go to, Rich and everybody? 1 million years BC. When Tehuti talks about this, and other brothers talk about this, people say this is pseudo time. Life doesn't even go back that far. Here's a CIA document where they're spending thousands of dollars for this project so that they can travel not only out of body, but realizing that in that realm of Smaui, that time doesn't exist and things are happening at the same time. They want to go to 1 million years BC. Selected geographic coordinates provided by parties requesting the information were verbally given to subject during the interview. So they want to go to have an out of body. They have designed this Mars exploration. No ships, no satellites, no Apollo, whatever those things are. They don't need that. They don't need that. They want to travel to Mars, and also they want to go back in time to see what was on Mars millions of years BC. What, Tehuti? What is this? Yes. Well, people here are people that are immaturely skeptical, which is really subconscious fear about all that's actually being taught. The CIA is investigating and investing millions of dollars into out-of-body consciousness site, and this case also going back to see what was happening 1 million BC on Mars. Okay, selected geographic coordinates provided by the parties requesting the information were verbally given to the subject during the interview. This is what the CIA are doing. Here's some out of the report came back. I'm seeing it's like a perception of shadow of people, very tall, thin. It's only a shadow. It's as if they were and they're not anymore. It's as if they were and then they're not. It's like they're coming in and out of dimension. They're there, then they see them, then they don't see them. The instructions go back to a period of time where they're there. It's like I get a lot of static on a line and everything. It's breaking up all the time, very fragmented pieces. Just report the raw data. Don't try to put things together. Just report the raw data. I just keep seeing very large people. They appear thin, tall. They're very large, wearing some type of strange clothes. All right. Now, holding this in the time period, I want to move from your physical location in some space to another physical location. But this time period, move now 46.45 degrees north, 353.22 degrees east. Move to this time 46.45 degrees north, 353.22 east. What does he say? Deep carvings. I see deep carvings inside of a cavern. Not a cavern, more like a canyon. I'm looking up the sides of a steep wall that seems to go in favor, and there are like structures within a It's like a wall of a canyon itself. It's been carved. Again, I'm getting very large structures, no intricacies, huge selections of smooth stone. So boom, the CIA are having out-of-body experimentations and projects. They saw tall human-like beings and carvings directly on the side of a canyon. What I'm about to show you are the actual images from Mars on the side of a canyon. So here we go. I'm going to show this and shrink this down a little bit. So here's one of the images that came back from Mars and what appears to be the side of a canyon. And we can see what appears to look like a structure of something that looks very familiar to us today, carved out. We see a head, we see shoulders, 2 eyes, a nose, and it's carved out in the side of what's called a canyon. Looks familiar? Well, what else did they see? What else did the CIA see in this out of body, in this approved acquisition? What did they see over there? They're going back in time. And let me blow this up more. Here we go. And watch how this ends. Here we go. What do they see? They saw plus 10 minutes ready to start. All right, now, using the information in the envelope, I provided exclusively focusing your attention now using information in the envelope. Focus on 40.89 degrees north, 9.55 degrees west. I want to say it looks like, I don't know, some sort of, it sort of looks kind of, I got oblique view of a pyramid. Pyramid forms, strangely high. It's kind of sitting in a large depressed area. All right, it's yellowish, ochre colored. All right, move in time to the time indicated on the envelope I provided you and describe what is happening. I'm tracking severe clouds and more like dust forms. It's geological problems. The geological problem seems to be like, just a minute, I've got to iron this out. It's really weird. Instructions, just report the raw perceptions at this time. You're still early in the session. I'm looking at after effect of a major geological problem. Okay, go back to the time before the geological problem. Total difference. It's before there is no, I don't know. Oh, hell, it's like mountains of dirt appear and then disappear. When you go before, see large flat surfaces very smooth, angled walls. They're really large though. I mean, they're megaliths. So what did he see? What did they see? Tall beings and pyramids. Here we are in the Mars preservance 733, 737. And here's the images that came back. We see total 90-degree elongated rectangular structures with what they call pyramid-shaped objects. We see what looks like a statue carved inside of the canyon. And we see it looks like what is taking place on Earth. And this is what the scientists are studying and using their out-of-body experiences and putting their time in to gain. So boom, the CIA spent millions of dollars to experiment on out-of-body. And what did they see? The exact same structures that brought the knowledge of out-of-body to Earth. Yes, out-of-body is very important to many on multiple levels. Tua Neter, Hotep, I'm done. Matrix broken. And that's the end of the presentation. Boom. Hey, we're at an hour and 20 minutes. There it is, Rich.
Yep. Yeah. Wow, man. That was yeah. What y'all think, y'all? That was a very good presentation, my brother. You said some things that that kind of change what I thought about certain things with ancient Kemet and even the word Kem. How you saying it? I was taught that it means black. So
yeah, they had to do that because at a time with Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, when there was racial wars going on, they had to give that premise. We knew everybody in Kemet what they look like. They look like you. They look like me. They look like Sinbad. They look like Wesley Snipes. So they didn't have to go around saying that they were black. They were describing things in a spiritual nature. and they knew exactly what they were talking about. The people had to remove that because they were atheists, so they couldn't tell you the word Kem meant completion, like the completion on the other side in the other realm. They couldn't tell you that because then you'd have to be asking, well, hey, what's this other realm? Dr. Ben didn't tell you about another realm.
Yeah. What do you think is one of the reasons? There may be a couple that the ancient Egyptians would like, let's just say the pineal gland. They would draw how the inside of your body looks, and they will have like statues, like even the Lakshmi. I think that represents a certain part of the brain. So there's a lot of statues that are actually the inside of our body. What's the deal with that, you think?
So two things are going on. Some of those images are real. Some of those images are people's creativity, like the Ankh. I did a class on the Ankh, where people try to say the Ankh is the fallopian tubes. It's not. But there are images on the Temple of Seti that show directly the skull with the moving of two snakes up to the red dot directly on the pineal gland. And one of the reasons for this was because they were showing you the importance of body parts that are spoken about. They were used back then, but now today people don't know. In school, they don't teach you what's this pineal gland for. What do we use these areas of the body for? But they taught that they were of very high importance because we use those areas to contact higher dimensional realms and some of what's called the third eye. I did a class on the third eye. They're body parts within us that some of them don't work anymore, but they're vestigials of when we were another type of evolutionary being that actually used that part of the pineal gland to actually reflect light to see different dimensions when we didn't even look like in this body. So they use it as a form of reverence of when it was highly utilized, but today it's not. So they really focus on the importance of how the body is a temple and how the physical body has aspects that connect into the spiritual world. I've done a few classes on that. Very, very important. And it shows that they knew what the inside of the body looked like.
Indeed. I want to give me some questions in the chat, family. I want to get a couple of questions from y'all before we get out of here. That was true scholarship. That was true scholarship, I must say. That was thorough, and I definitely appreciate you coming with it today, my brother Tehuti. While we wait for the people to come with some questions, there's some, we was talking a lot about dreams, and you even told us the word that they originally used for dreams before they changed it. But one of the things that a lot of TikTokers on TikTok say about dreams, and I don't know if they're just making it up, trying to be sensational. They say they don't see white people in their dreams. Have you ever heard of anything like this? Yeah, a lot of people are saying that on TikTok.
Are the ones that are saying that, how do they look?
Just like me and you, brother. Yeah.
So if you were to ask a European person about their dreams, they would state, I don't see a lot of Chinese people in my dreams.
Right.
If you went to China, they would say, I don't see a lot of Polynesians in my dreams. So in the first stage of dream consciousness, it's an accumulation of your subconscious thoughts of what took place in your day and that which you're highly familiar with. So it takes things that you've seen and it pieces them together to form a sequential story, some of which doesn't make sense because it'll take a dog that you saw, slippers that you saw, and it'll put slippers on the dog, and then you have to figure that out. So, but of course, if you're an Eskimo, you wouldn't have parrots in your dream. And if you live in Hawaii, you wouldn't have polar bears in your dream. So a lot of people that are dreaming, their subconscious doesn't want to see Europeans, and that's why they don't see them. But you see anything that's in your subconscious. So yes, there's Europeans in dreams. There's no racial separation in a dream state. It's whatever you experience in your life. So if you meet a black person that lives in Scotland and ask them if they see Europeans in their dreams, they would say yes. I'm surrounded by them.
Excellent. I'm glad you explained that. But yeah, that's over in TikTok. That's kind of big over there. Let's get to a couple of questions in the chat. Let me see what y'all talking about. Before I get to the questions, another thing a lot of people say is and I heard Bobby Hemmett say this, when you pass away, don't go into the light. If you go into the light, you will get reincarnated back into this realm from your study of ancient Kemet. What can you tell me about that?
Okay, so the realm is actually called the realm of light. In this in that realm, the only thing that's over there that composes things that the mind can comprehend is light and sound. It was called Aku, and it was called the realm of light. So everything that you're seeing, similar to what's on how they visualize the quantum realm, everything is light particles and sound particles. The light usually is the light at the end of a tunnel that people first see first. The light at the end of the tunnel that people see is just what's on the other side of the dimension. The ancient ones called the light tunnel the Makait. It was the Maquette. Maquette was a word for fiery ladder. It was a word for a vortex that you would travel on, and it was the same word for ladder because it would represent ascension, and it was the same word for flame. So you're actually traveling through dimensions of light. You cannot help but go into the light, because the light is just on what's on the other side of the vortex. So nowhere in ancient times did it teach not to go into the light, because everything over there is composed of light consciousness, and the beings that are over there that you meet, they're actually called light beings. They're called Akus, which are light beings. So they're made of light. Now, more specifically, there are colored lights that you don't want to go into. So when they did studies in the University of California, just here by me, they did studies and they found out that when one is in a state of peace, the light energy that's on the other side, it emanates blue, and that blue light combined with white light was used by nurses to actually heal people. When someone is in a state of friction and anger, they generate a very strong reddish type of light, a light of anguish. So on that side, the beings are actually composed of light, so you can distinguish different type of beings by the color of light that they're composed of. So if there are beings that are highly negative and angry, or we're angry on this side, you'll see a red light that you don't want to go into. You don't want to go into that light, because that light, those beings are beings that are highly dangerous, and some of them are succubi, and they're angry type beings that just want to feed off of you and turn you into what's called a specter, where you got your energy sucked so much out of you that you just end up floating in that realm. So there's different colored light beings that you don't want to enter into, but definitely you don't want to avoid all light, because the whole realm is composed of light consciousness and darkness simultaneously, like the quantum realm is.
Indeed. All right. Let me get to it. There was a question I wanted to get to. Where is it at? Okay. They want to know, why do we wake up before we die in our dreams?
Beautiful question. Who's that coming from? Shout out to do you know how to say that name?
Q wins. Let's just say Q wins.
Okay. Shout out to Q wins. So beautiful. What takes place? The first step before you even get to a dream, before you die, you have inhibitors in the brain. One of which is called GABA. It's a GABA inhibitor, and the GABA inhibitor starts to become stimulated when you go into what's called REM state. The GABA inhibitor starts to accelerate, and what it starts to do is starts to cut off your mind's consciousness with your physical body. It's the very first step that the inhibitors do in order to protect you from physically actually being killed. So let's say you have a dream where you're jumping out of a window, and some people sleepwalk. They actually are dreaming that they're walking, and they're sleepwalking. But if you actually watch a person who's sleepwalking, they're maneuvering through the room. Watch one of your friends that sleepwalk. You'll notice that they're not bumping into the wall. They're actually turning. They know how to protect themselves. So what happens with these inhibitors, they're designed to protect you, so that your dream body and your physical body do not believe that two things are happening simultaneously that are real. The separation of the two things is what keeps you safe. So in other words, people wake up with what's called stigmata. They wake up with sometimes bruises on their body because they actually got into a fight on that side. And on that side, if your mind believes, if the receptors aren't strong enough to cause a complete separation, then you actually get the bruises that you've received fighting on that side, you receive them on this side. And you wake up with bruises and scratches and things that are taking place that you had, or you wake up extremely tired from what took place on that side. The strongest receptor, the strong receptor that you have, is not just that which keeps your body paralyzed when you're sleeping, but that which disconnects your body to believe that you actually died. So you may come across people, there I have records of people that are on their deathbed and they actually choose to die. They say it first. They're on their deathbed, they say, "It is my time," and then they die. They consciously, just like Anita says, "It is my time to come back," and she came back healed. They're on their deathbed saying it is their time. And because they thought themselves into death or they accepted the death, their body shuts down, flatlines, and now they're dead. Because one of the strongest aspects that keeps you alive is your mind's consciousness that wants you to stay alive. This is how women are able to move cars off of their children. When the cars trap their children, they can break the physical barriers. And some people take themselves into a state of depression where they actually die without the physical tools of suicide. They commit depression death. I don't know if you've all ever heard of that before. They sadden themselves into their body actually just giving up, and then they die. So the protective mechanism, the inhibitors, do not want you to accept that you die. So right at the time where you believe that you're going to die, two things happen. Either the dream converges into another dream, you go somewhere else, or you wake up. Because if you have a conscious memory and have the belief system and that inhibitor is not strong enough to believe that you did die, you could actually die. So it's a form of protection, and we should be very happy that we have that. Thanks for the question.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. I've wondered that many times myself. Let's keep this going. Okay. I see this person keeps posting this. I do want to ask this. Does fasting and semen retention aid in astral traveling?
Shout out to Amir Shahid 723. I was interesting. I was just looking at my class on semen retention. I usually do that for people in private classes. And let me tell you, I'll tell you how that works. It absolutely 100% can, and actually 100% can do the opposite. So, because of such of the wide variety of definitions of what people call fasting. So there is a form of fasting where you're cleansing the body. You're only fasting for a short period of time. You don't put your body into what's called a catabolic state. So some people fast and their body goes into what's called a catabolic state. And when the body goes into a catabolic state, what happens is the body starts to seek sugars from the blood itself. And it starts to crash you because the blood is looking for sugars either through carbohydrate sugars, through potatoes and bread, or it's looking for ketone energy through healthy fats, through fish oils, because the brain needs that to run. When the body goes into a state of fasting where it goes into a catabolic state, it starts to panic. And when it starts to panic, that now inhibits the having an out of body peacefully, because your subconscious thinks that you're in danger. Your body's giving off messages that you're in danger. If you fast to the point where you're just cleansing the body of impurities and you're drinking water and getting that out, but you don't put yourself in a starving state, that helps the out of body, because now you're in a pure state without the toxins, especially the sugar that actually most people are eating on a daily basis forms it looks like the peptide. It looks like the schooling of the peptide of vitamin C, where the vitamin C goes in, the sugar fits into that spot. And so when the vitamin C tries to go into that spot, it actually rebounds out of there, and it causes what's the real definition of AIDS, which is not a sexually transmitted disease. It causes acquired immune deficiency syndrome. And when you're in that state, the body panics and you can't think properly. And that will actually hinder an out of body. If you're fasting and you cleanse the body, the cleaner the state of the body is in, the better your out of body is going to be. But you want to be satiated. That means you do not want your body to feel that you are hungry at any point in time while you're trying to do an out of body experience. You want to feel satiated. You don't want to feel like your body is panicking. So if you can get to that middle state where you fasted, you're cleansing yourself, but the body is not saying, I am hungry. I am hungry. If it's in that middle state of satiation, but it's cleansing, that's a good time to have an out of body experience. And you'll more likely have better, pure thoughts in that state. The rebound, the negative aspect of that is that if you fast to the point where you have even the subconscious thought of hunger, while you're trying to have an out of body, you'll start to dream about food and hunger. And you start to dream about, I want to eat this, and then your out of body is going to be horrible because it's going to be wanting to eat. The same exact thing happens with semen retention. The reason why these two things are the same is because both of them deal with what's called biological imperative. Biological imperative are based on two things: sex and food. The two things that the reptilian brain and the body initially seek to survive: sex and food. So semen retention is now the lack of ejaculation, which in some cases could be the lack of sex. But I teach people how to have what's called injaculations. So you can have injaculations and you're having sex with your partner, and as a man, you're experiencing a female's orgasm, which she's having internally. And by having the orgasm internally, she's retaining that energy, which is why a woman can have sequential orgasms, one after the other, one after the other. A man usually has one orgasm and he's tired because he's releasing. So you can have semen retention by continuing to have your sex with your partner, but there are methods in which to hold the semen in. If you do that and you don't get to a frustrated state, then semen retention can help in out of body experiences because you're disciplining yourself to control your body. And one last thing, the semen retention can help the sensitivity of understanding the feelings in your body so that when you get to that other side, you feel things more sensitive over there. So which means that semen retention doesn't have to be not having sex, but you can get right to the point where you're about to have an ejaculation and you know how to control those areas down here, similar to female Kegling, and you control it and you can retain your semen and hold it in. What happens is when you go to the other side, having it out of body, now you're more sensitive to controlling the body because you controlled one of the most uncontrollable things that a man can not do, and that's bust out, ejaculating. So when you get to that side, you can start to control things better over there. So yes, semen retention can be helpful as long as it's not to the point where you're frustrated sexually, and that could hinder the out of body or make you have perverted out of body experiences.
Indeed. Definitely great answers, my brother. You know, there was something that I was looking up the other day, and the video was saying that, you know, there's a huge campaign since we've been born, Tehuti, to make sure we get 8 hours of sleep. It's very important for our health, they say, to get 8 hours sleep. But I've heard people say that we in ancient times, we didn't sleep for 8 hours. They say we slept for two shifts. So they call it biophasic, I believe, sleep. They said we slept for 4, we was awake for 2, then we slept for another 4 hours. But they're saying that campaign came about when they needed us to work and they needed us to run things a certain way, be workers and stuff like that. So what is your thoughts on the 8 hours of sleep being something that they invented and that we originally slept in 2 shifts, my brother?
Oh, it's a great question. And let me ask you something, Rich. Are you are you off the screen?
Yeah. No, I'm off the screen. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, good.
I'm just letting people see you on the screen. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. Yeah. This
Oh,
your
okay,
thing.
good. However
Mm.
you want to do it. However you want to do it.
Uh,
Okay. So both are correct. So first, the body doesn't need 8 hours of sleep. You need a minimum of 6 hours of sleep for your circadian rhythm. Now, here's where it's broken up into 2 or 3. And this is coming from and also we have to understand there are different people on the planet that require different types of sleep. If you go back to the time where you grew the most, it was when you were a baby.
mm.
And how much sleep does a baby get compared to adults? Much more, because they're growing more, they're developing more. Now, as a person, me into fitness training, I'm going to tell there's competitors that I train, they need 10 hours of sleep. Why? Because they're putting their body through a strain that the average person doesn't go through, and they have to develop. And the only time you grow, I tell people, you don't grow in the gym, you grow in the bed while you're sleeping. Those people need 10 hours of sleep.
Right.
The average person doesn't need 10 hours of sleep, or even 8, but you do not want to get less than 6 hours of sleep, because you can start to affect your circadian rhythm, and depending on what you do in the day, your body's not fully recomposed. It's not it has to recover. Now, the breakup of sleep. 5 hours of sleep and then taking a 3-hour nap or a 2-hour nap, a beautiful thing to do. This gives your body 2 recovery times, and it gives it a recovery time in the daytime and a recovery time in the night. So I advise people all the time, sleep twice. If you get 5 hours of sleep, take a nap. I tell people, try to take a nap every day. Get the 2 hours, 3 hours of sleep, nap every day. And that's one of the healthiest things you can do, because the more rest you get, the more recovery. Yes, the 8-hour number, the number 8 hours was based on a monetary system and a 24-hour system of how many hours you worked in a day, because 888 is what, 24? So 888, 24. So you get 8 hours sleep and then you work 8 hours a day. That was all for monetary reasons. You need about 6 hours of sleep. I advise everybody, get your extra nap. Get your extra nap in, and you'll be much healthier. The other issue about sleeping extra hours, and why it's good to break it up into 2, is because the average person, not even me, but the average person, you should be drinking close to a gallon of water a day for health. I eat about 7 meals a day, 6 to 7 meals a day, and I drink almost 2 gallons of water a day.
God damn, nigga, the fuck? 7 meals a day? Shit.
Yeah, totally different from the Nation of Islam, right?
Yeah, 1 meal a day. You say you went for good. Damn, dude. Wow.
I talked to somebody from the Nation of Islam, and they told me the secret. They said, yo, you know what the 1 meal a day is? And they showed me their 1 meal. It was humongous. They said this 1 meal, but it's actually a bunch of meals together, and they just eat 1 meal throughout the day, and they call it 1 meal a day. But they definitely don't get up and eat 2 eggs and a piece of bread and don't eat again. But at any rate, so I eat about 6 to 7 meals a day. The problem with 10 hours of sleep and the long hours of sleep is that that's the only time in the day where you can't hydrate yourself. So throughout the day in your 8 hours, you're drinking, you're hydrating yourself. When you're sleeping, you're dehydrating yourself because you don't get a chance to drink. So if you can break your sleep up into 2 shifts, wake up, drink your water, go back to sleep another 4 hours, another 5 hours, that's the better thing to do, to keep your body hydrated. But the answer to the question is that there's not one answer, because we have fitness, we have track star runners, professional bodybuilders, boxers, old 89-year-old grandmothers, 5-year-old children, handicapped people. So there's different answers based on the health structure and goal that you want to achieve. I would always say have 2 sleeps though in a day. Yes, absolutely.
Indeed. Wow. It's always interesting the different things people do. When that works for them, I guess there's no one formula for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well,
No,
you,
like
you
how
know,
3 meals a day. That was a psyops. Three meals a day, and they made sure that they told you it was square.
yeah.
Right? 3 square meals a day. So it's like, okay, there's a 3-year-old boy. He eats 3 meals a day, and so does Mike Tyson, and so does Ronnie Coleman, the bodybuilder. So does Usain Bolt. So no, there's no prescribed one way to eat for everybody or sleep.
Mhm, mhm. You brought up something. I'm glad you brought up a little earlier. You was talking about the GABA, that brain's the neurotransmitter that increases sleep, and it calms your neural activity and things like that. We also hear about things at night like melatonin. A lot of people are familiar with the chemical melatonin that gets secreted by the pineal gland. We also hear about the growth hormone. So you talked about the bodybuilder. So a lot of people get strong when they sleep because that's when you release muscle growth, tissue repair, cellular recovery, things like that. My
Yeah.
question to you, and I've asked this before, is if because I'm more creative at night. So if my body's releasing all of these things, does this aid in my creativity if I choose not to use it for sleep? If it's not helping me recover muscle recovery during sleep, is it helping build things, my neural network in my brain when I'm using my imagination at night? Because a lot of people are more creative at nighttime. So what do those chemicals do if one is awake versus one being asleep?
Beautiful question. So first off, the answer is no.
Mhm.
No, that's not what's happening. There's 2 different. There's another thing happening. So those chemicals are designed for sleep. They're happening
Ah,
because you're sleeping,
right.
because the body's resting, and as soon as the body's resting, it triggers the melatonin, helps keep you on your circadian rhythm. The GABA's released, serotonin. These things are triggered by times for rest. It's happening while you're sleeping. Now, people that are creative at night, it's not those things because those things are happening while you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
People that are creative at night, there's multiple things going on. One thing that's happening is that because your body is supposed to be sleeping and dreaming, your body naturally your body is programmed that at that time of night, whether you're sleeping or not, your body goes into this state of creativity because you're actually trying to be sleeping. I have my most creative times when I'm nodding off and things
Yeah,
just
right,
pop up,
right. Yeah.
right? Because the body's like, it's time to dream. It's time to get creative. It's time to take all the things in the world that you had and put them all together. But you're like, no, I'm going to stay awake. And so what's happening is you go into the semi-dream state. And because nighttime is more peaceful, the body shifts from the beta wavelength. It goes from 13, the beta wavelength, and it goes to more the 4 wavelength. And that's the alpha wavelength because the body, nighttime is more peaceful. It's more quiet. Less of your friends are calling you. It's darker outside, and the brain slows down into an alpha wavelength. In
Yeah.
the alpha wavelength, you become extremely creative because it's the relaxed wavelength that one is in when they're in a state of healing, meditation. And then if you can stay awake and go down to the theta, it's hard to do, but still stay awake, which is usually right when you're having an out of body. You're awake and sleep at the same time, or lucid at the same time. Now your body is in a super creative state because it knows it's relaxed, as opposed to thinking in the day, oh, I got to go pay this bill. Who's the next guest for tomorrow? Who's what? Did I pay this person? Who owe money? All the things that you're thinking about in the day, in nighttime, you're like, shh. And now you can actually see clearer. You can, all those thoughts that were creative, they were
Mhm.
there in the day. You just couldn't hear them
Mhm.
because your body's on beta wavelength. It's going like this, and you can't hear the thoughts. Shh, quiet the mind, and then you can start hearing your thoughts come. And usually that's at nighttime because things are more relaxed. And a lot of people create massively. Artists create a
Right.
nighttime.
Yeah.
We're up at 2 a.m. It's a beautiful time of creativity. Make sure that you still get the sleep in the day though, or else staying up at night and the day could become dangerous for your health.
Mhm. Hey, what was the ancient Kemetic word? You know, you call yourself Tehuti for your thoughts, because you mentioned Kem meaning in a dream, not meaning what we think it means. What did they call their thoughts in ancient Kemet?
You know, you asked that question, something must be subconscious in your mind, because as you asked that question, you said the word Tehuti, which is very, very interesting, because the oldest word for thought, 3400 BC,
Uh,
is the bird image of Tehuti. So it was called Ku.
cool.
Ku was the oldest word for conscious thought, and the image of it was the bird with the long beak. If people always want to wonder, why is Tehuti shown behind me, and why do we see Tehuti? He has a longer beak than the regular birds like Horus or like all the other birds. He has a long, long beak.
Right.
That is because the bird was called Ku and Cam. Cam, which is a word that meant to dig, or again, stick your beak in the darkness, because the ancient bird, which still exists today, the Habu bird, the way that it eats and the way that it looks for food is it's able to have these long legs to stay away from danger, but it can stick its beak deep inside the dirt and search for things. This became the concept that we use today in the 70s to understand somebody. How would you say it? You dig. You ever wonder why people say that? You dig, digging for
Mhm.
the truth. This
Mm.
concept of you dig me, you dig what I'm saying. If you ask somebody, what are you talking about? What do you mean dig what I'm saying? The digging bird was the bird for thought, because the bird of thought, the Tehuti bird called the Habu bird, was the bird that dug down to the roots and dug for things and found things deeper than what the other animals can see. This image is as far back as 3400 BC, back to the Par-Ee, or the pharaoh that they made the movie of, that The Rock is in, called The Scorpion. That's the real scorpion. Scorpion 1 is where they found the image of the word for thought, is the oldest word for thought, and the same word was the word for your spirit, because the ancient ones did not separate their thoughts from their spiritual nature. So that was the cam bird, and it meant to dig. The oldest word on the planet for thoughts, predating any word for conscious thought, and that was called Ku, and actually became the name of the pyramid.
Excellent, excellent. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that dig, you dig. I mean, I've been telling people forever. You know, it's in our DNA. There's only one people on the planet that uses slang, and the slang is tied to an ancient language, and we do it subconsciously. We don't realize what we're doing, but we just do it because it's in us. There's only one people that do that. So yeah, that's powerful, man.
You don't go to China and hear you don't watch an old kung fu movie and see the Chinese monks say, "You dig me? You dig?" And you don't see
Oh
it in a Nazi movie either.
no, no,
These
no,
are
no.
all things. Yeah, they're all within us, and the Matrix uses that to actually hinder us, because it knows what's in us. So it takes the English language and mutates the words, uh, like the word death. The word death itself. So death was given to us as a hypnotic word of mind control. The ancient people did not have the word death. So death was given to us because death. What if I told you, Rich, that death isn't a word, but it's a mathematical equation? It's not even a word. The word death and murder,
Mhm.
those aren't words. I want to let me show this last. I want to show something if I can.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Let me see where I hope I didn't close it out. Wait a minute. Oh, let me get it back then. So yeah, death is here it is. Death is a word family. Everybody listening, peace and love to all those who are listening, getting this knowledge. I'm here to help put things together that we put together while still giving credit to the
You
leftists
you
for us
breaking up. You
that
breaking up a little
want to
bit, my
be
brother. You breaking up a little bit, my
one.
brother.
Okay, one more.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay. One moment. I'm gonna fix that.
All right.
I'm gonna fix that. Hold on.
Okay. Take your time, brother. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Oh man, this was a good show, y'all. This is powerful. I'm gonna do one more question because we about to hit the 2 hour mark, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. But yeah, this was an amazing. This is one of them shows you got to listen to again. So many gems drop that you got to listen to it again. Definitely. Tehuti, are you there, my brother? Yeah, I think it's still stuck a little bit.
Yes, I'm okay. Am I moving?
Yeah, I see you. Uh-huh. Yep.
Am I speaking in real time?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, death was a word they gave to us. It was a word, it was not even a word, it's a code. It's the Jews have something called the Kabbalah, and they use something called gematria to make code frequencies and numerical code equivalences to what appear to be words to us, but they're actually mathematical equations. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen and show this because death was a word that they gave us. And I'm going to tell everybody in the chat room and everybody watching right now, the original word we had for death was a feminine word. It had nothing to do with what people are saying death now, and they had to remove it and give us the word death. So I'm going to go ahead and show this right here. So if you take
I can't see it. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
okay, if you take the word these words here,
Uh-huh.
murder and death, these are mathematical equations. So these are mathematical equations of 14, 6, 9, 23, 22, and 89, and it equals 83. And death is it in its reverse, 4, 5, 1, 28. So the original concept of death was that I taught today was that death was the entrance to the double realm. The way you made things double in ancient times, you put two lines beside each other. It was the 1 1, two equivalents, and that's why the equal sign is two lines which equivalate to something. It was the number 11. They took the concept of the number 11, they made a gematria, which was 8 and 3, and now gematria becomes death and murder. Death and murder are code words, and they gave it to us, and they even showed you when they made a movie. They made a movie with Sandra Bullock in it, and it was literally called Death by Numbers. And when you look at the cover page of Death by Numbers, look what you see, Rich. Look what they did to the letter E, the letter B. Do you see the 8 and the 3 there? The 3 8,
Mm-hmm.
8 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow.
Yeah, so that's death by murder by numbers, because they knew the numbers for murder was 38 and 83. That was this. So they made a movie called Murder by Numbers, and they could have chose any actress that they wanted, but they specifically chose Sandra Bullock. Why? This is how serious they are, because Sandra Bullock herself in the movie name equals 83.
Mm.
This was it. So Sandra Bullock was 83. Death by numbers is 83 because death and murder are actual numbers coded. And let me ask you a question. What was the most popular racial focused murder in broad daylight in the world that escalated the Black Lives Matter? What's the most popular one, Rich? The most popular racist police murder ever in America, right in broad daylight. A man kneeling on somebody's neck.
George Floyd. George Floyd. Can you hear me?
Right. George
Yeah.
Floyd.
Yeah.
Yes, I hear you good. You hear me?
Yeah.
George Floyd. Yeah, that was all the psyops. That's why when they pulled the car up, the fake car footage up, the police car was 83. It was 83 and 0. This was the code that they were using, and they told you that it was happening in Minnesota. Minnesota was also 83. And when they showed George Floyd died, they say yes, the car pulls up 83. I already did classes fake police scene, time didn't match, everything was a psyops, and so they show you George Floyd dying. What street does he die on? 38, right?
You
So
know
these are
what
all
though?
psyops that they're using.
Hootie, this is my problem with that. The issue I have with that, that I see a lot of people do on the internet.
Mhm.
There's something called, because people will say, "Oh, this was a psyop. Look, this number's here, and this number needs that, and that means that." There's something called universal synchronicities, where when things are in alignment, everything just lines up. And from a person on the outside looking in, it gotta be a conspiracy, because there's no way the universe is that ill with numbers. There's been times when, listen, there's been times when I thought of a number. I look at my phone, the numbers all look as I look at my phone. Look, I said I thought of a number. You see that?
11.
11,
Yeah.
You see, that's what I'm talking about, little shit like that. But there's been times when I thought of a number, I look on my phone, the numbers on my phone, and at the same time, a cartoon says the same number I just said in my head. So I got the thing happening in my mind, it pops up on my phone, and the TV says it. Now, a conspiracy theorist would say, your phone is tapped and your TV is tapped. No, what about if I'm in such alignment that the universe just shows me that it's a simulation by putting everything together? That's how I look at it. Somebody saying intelligent design. Yeah, it's like an intelligent design. It doesn't always have to be a conspiracy. That's just how how I look at it sometimes.
You are 100% right, because you use the word, it doesn't always have to be a conspiracy. Absolutely.
Right.
Everything has a dual nature. So the thing that you just described as the alignment, 100% happen. I teach people how to do that, to guide their magic, that we have synchronicities that take place. That happens. That absolutely happens. Now that is much different than when there is a controlled environment,
Right.
where we look at the footage of things, we look at 9/11, we look at the footage of things, and we say, wait a minute, the time is off. That footage that they captured Floyd in is not the time of it's not the time that they captured him. It's an hour before, like it was filmed before the event. Now this is controlled synchronicity. It is still synchronicity, but it's a controlled situation that's happening. So both actually happen.
Right.
When they say murder by numbers and they make the 8 a 3, and they're saying murder by numbers, and when you look up murder, it's 83. That's not a synchronicity. That's them making the movie.
Right.
What you're talking about absolutely is a synchronicity, and you should make it. You should have a diary of those things.
Yeah.
Log those. That's,
man.
Yeah.
Yo, Tehuti, I could probably talk to you for like another 3 hours, man. Like for real. Like wow, man. You tapped in for real, man. I wanna let the people know how they could see more of your information. Do you have a YouTube channel, website, Instagram?
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna put it on the screen and share it right now.
Okay.
And put it on the screen for everybody. So this Saturday, it may chop up because I'm looking up something. Hold on. Am I chopping up, Rich?
No, you good. You good. You good on mine.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, we're going to go live, and that will show all the images. Perfect. So here I'm going to go ahead and share. Let me take it off of this share. And let me go ahead and get that off the screen. Okay, so everybody who wants to see where these classes are taking place, I have a very unique system set up. We're called the House of a 10, which you can see if you look behind me. The House of a 10 is a movement that we have a very unique system set up called the Tehuti class. This class and situation is set up where instead of me doing lectures on topics that are interesting to me, and me choosing them, we actually have a reciprocity system where people send in their questions and they get to choose what the entire subject matter of the class is. So instead of looking for a book, trying to find a chapter on the topic you like, or scrolling through Facebook to try to find something interesting, you actually send in the demand and the question saying, I want this whole class to be about the Montauk Project. I want to know how to have an out of body. I want to know who were the ancient Cometians. I want to know about liver disease and ADHD and how to heal them. And I'll tell you this, Rich, you can still hear me?
Yep.
One of the things I was going to say is that I have not had an out of body. Yes, I have lots of out of bodies. I have not had a near death experience, but I have witnesses where I teach people and I give people information in the pod class, and then I have private meetings with them where they can connect with people on the other side. And I've had one-on-one meetings. I don't know if she's in the chat right now, but I've had one-on-one meetings where, unfortunately, a young lady, she had, miscarriages, and I was able to sit down with her and have a one-on-one. And the babies that she had a miscarriage with came to the meeting. Were in the meeting, climbing on her shoulders, and she was crying because she never got a chance to see her babies after the miscarriage. There may be another person in the room right now. He had a deceased mother. And he had a one-on-one with me, and he wanted to know how to contact, and I gave him instructions, and now he has a full-on relationship with his family members, just like Anita crossed over to the other side. So these are the kind of things that we teach. There's no limit because you can ask anything that has to do with the advancement of consciousness. And let me go ahead and share the screen and show you what we do at the Tehuti pod class. And let me know if you all can you see the screen, Rich?
Yes.
Okay, so as you see, all of these topics are questions that came into me, and the whole class is based on these questions. 3i Atlas was one of the last ones that was redone, and I showed NASA studying the Medunetter and naming things after the ancient Egyptian gods, and show what 3i Atlas actually is. Eyes Wide Shut movie. This was a whole class on Epstein. This was this class scared everybody. Out of body experience, forensic uses and Kemetic wisdom, the Epstein agenda, goddess energy. I do a lot of classes on feminine energy based on what the ancient writings said feminine energy was, goddess energy. Voodoo dolls origin, Wakanda origin, the four sons of Horus, liver healing, the Kabbalah, the seven Hermetic principles. What is the actual tree of life? What is destiny and purpose? Is it Mother Earth or Father Earth? All of these topics here, dementia, Alzheimer's, the solution. Tune in to the Tehuti pod class. It is an unlimited event. The classes go for 7 hours, 9 hours. The actual answers are about 3 hours. We vibe, we talk, and then I get into similar to what you just saw happen today. So tune into the Tehuti pod class. I'm also on Facebook as Tehuti Brown. I don't know, Rich, if your moderators are able to put the contact in the chat. I'm not sure, but it's Tehuti Brown on Facebook if the moderators have that ability. So this is how you come in contact with the beautiful experience of the Tehuti pod class. We have a once a year meeting in person called the Pathways of the Awakening. Brothers and sisters and people get together. We have events that take place. It's a beautiful thing. The focus is to build a family environment based on the cleansing of the mind without the concepts of the matrix in it, and getting people to did I come off?
Yeah.
Getting people unified under the true form of what love is, consciousness is, and what the ancient ancestors said. It's a very beautiful experience that we're doing. House of Aten, as you can see behind us, Tehuti pod class.
Yo, Tehuti, can you send me the link in the private chat? Between me and you, and then I could put it in the chat.
Is it the link to the YouTube channel?
Yeah, or whatever link you got, the YouTube or whatever. You see the private chat on the side, right? It says private chat.
Yes.
Send it. Just put it in there, and then I'll share with the people before we get out of here. While you do that, real quick before we get out of here, Tehuti, I don't think you mentioned the feminine word for death. Did you mention the name? You breaking up?
It's chopping up, Rich, because I'm looking up something on YouTube. Yeah, hold on one moment. Hold on.
All right.
Let me pull this up.
Mm-hmm. Once again, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Dr. B is going to be on tomorrow, by the way, family. Dr. B, and I forget the sister's name. Damn, she has never been on the show before, but they're going to be on the live tomorrow at 9. So tune in tomorrow at 9, family, for that tomorrow night at 9.
Did you say Dr. B?
Yeah, Dr. B serious. You ever heard of that, brother?
One of my goddesses or ladies here knows him. She's mentioned Dr. B.
Okay, yeah.
Dr. B Cyrus.
Yeah,
He had a lot of was it predictions he had in that? A lot of predictions that came true? Was that what different things he was able to say that happened before they happened, and all positive things she said about him.
Excellent. Yeah,
there's the YouTube.
Okay, you said it to me. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, give me a second. Let me share this with the family. Copy link address. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I posted the right one, so I got the brother to send it to me. So I just posted the brother's YouTube direct link in the chat. Y'all could click on that link and go over to the brother's YouTube. Make sure you support him. The brother got videos on there 7 hours long, family. So make sure y'all go show some love, tell your friends and family. Yeah, this brother's pretty thorough. So I'm glad the brother. Another thing, there was one other thing. Okay, you mentioned miscarriage, and you was talking about how the babies were climbing on the sister. What happens to the soul if during abortion? Since abortion is such a huge thing in the so-called Black community, the numbers are absolutely huge. What happens to the soul during abortion? Did the ancient Kemits have abortion, by the way?
Good point. So actually, abortion has taken top over gang violence as far as the Black community. Abortion is the number one killer, actually.
Right. Yeah.
It's horrible. So I'll say this, and it's a sad thing, but I have a class called Are Babies Conscious in the Womb? And I show a video of an abortion taking place. The unfortunate one was the suction cup abortion.
Oh, God.
And the baby was screaming and avoiding the suction cup, which meant a lot of things. One thing is it meant that it knows danger and it knows death. And a baby is not supposed to know danger and death because it's never even come out of the womb. But yet the baby knew how to avoid, and it was screaming and panicking while they're trying to abort the baby. Unfortunately, in most cases, in a state of death, where you're traumatized, sometimes the being becomes trapped in the area that it was traumatized in. This is where you get haunted houses from, haunted forests. The being gets stuck in that area. It doesn't happen all the time because we don't have all the cases of babies coming back and people coming back. But in a lot of cases, the poor child or whoever was killed in a traumatic situation gets stuck in there until they can break out. It's unfortunate. Some babies don't die like that, and they can they just go to the other side. They go back to what they were before they were babies, because they didn't come from that side as babies, so they just go back to what they were. My son, he's alive, is an example of that situation where he came and told the mother as a child that he watched us being intimate, and he was on the other side. There's a little boy talking. He watched us being intimate, and he was on the other side. And when the female and me were having their climax, he said he chose to come on in. He was already a full comprehension thinking adult being. And then when he came in, he was conceived, but he was already an adult at that side. So sometimes they go back to their adult form, but sometimes they do get trapped, unfortunately, and that happens whether you're a baby or not. It's unfortunate, but
Indeed. Okay. I'm glad you let us know about that. And Kemet, so they didn't have like natural abortions in Kemet, where they just take a herb or something like that, or
there was birth control. Yes, there was birth control in Kemet. I have not seen any case where there was a woman in term, like 2 months in, then they went in and killed the baby. I have not come across that, but
Right.
there was contraceptives to prevent the pregnancy, and things to halt it. But I've never seen what they have today, where you can abort a baby like 4 months, or it's like
Yeah, it's crazy.
basically murder,
Yeah.
full baby. I have not seen that in Kemet yet. No.
Mm. Hey man, listen, Tehuti, man, I want to thank you once again, brother. Absolute magnificent job you did today on the channel. Wonderful debut, my brother. And I look forward to watching this broadcast again.
And I also thank you, Rich. And I also want to add this to the baby thing. So when I say trapped, some people are traumatized on that side, and they become haunted in the house, and they get trapped in there, get frustrated. Her babies, fortunately, were trapped just around her. So they seem fine. They were still babies, and she said they're just climbing around me, but all they know was her, so they died with her, and they're just now with her. They weren't going to anywhere else. So that, in that case, that can be a good thing, because she was happy to see them trapped with her.
Did you give us somebody? I'm sorry. Somebody said the question he didn't answer. Did you give us the name, the feminine name for death? Did you give it to? Did you give us
which question?
You said there was a feminine name for death.
Oh yes. Is that what she's talking? Is that because I brought that up? It wasn't a question, but I did say I was going to say that. Yes, but
right.
I'll say that, and then maybe if there was a question, she could point it out. But
no question. Yeah, they just wanted you to give us a name for death, the original name.
So the original name for death was Mut. Mut became the original name for death, and it was the same word that created the word matrix we have today. The word matrix, matriarch, mother, it all comes from the word met and mut. It's an ancient word, and it's a word that means something that rebirths something. That's why the original word matrix was the actual inside of the cow, or the female cow is that which birthed things, that something exists in before they were born. And it's from the word mut. The word mut got, as it got into the Spanish language, became mort and mut, and that's where you get the term of the day. How do you say it, Nanny, in Spanish? No, the Day of the Dead. Dia de los Muerte. Yeah. So you get the muerte from mut, and that becomes the word for dead. And then after mort gets transferred into the word where the person who takes care of the dead, that became the mortician. That became the mortuary and the mortician. But when you look up the root word of mort from mortician, it means a female girl in English, in the English dictionary. Right. The word mort from mortician means a female girl, because it was the word for, it was a feminine aspect, because we didn't think that we died. We acknowledged that there was a feminine frequency that rebirthed us. So we never had a word for death. The same word for mother was the same word for death. It was a rebirth. It was a feminine word. Now it's 38 and 83.
Excellent. Once again, Tehuti, thank you, my brother. Absolutely brilliant show. Family, thank you for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow at 9 with Dr. B Serious and some other guests. With that being said, I will see you tomorrow. Tehuti, I'm gonna give you a call next week, my brother.
Do that. Nice. Thank you. Nice for having me, Rich. This was beautiful. I love the show. I look forward to frequently coming here. And peace and love to everybody in the chat.
I will definitely get you on here again soon, my brother. Definitely.
Okay.
All right. Peace.
Before there was cigarettes, before there were brands, there was the leaf. Tobacco is one of the oldest forms of spirit communication known to humanity. Long before modern times, it was understood as a living messenger, a way for human intention to travel beyond the visible world and return with meaning. In the oldest traditions, tobacco was never a habit. It was a bridge, not something used to escape life, but something used to speak with it. Our ancestors knew breath as spirit itself, and smoke was breath-given form. When the leaf touched fire, it awakened. When guided by breath, it carried thought into the unseen. In that moment, intention became vapor, and prayer learned how to rise. It was never about getting high. It was about clarity, connection, making the invisible visible. That's the memory the leaf still carries. Radio Cigars.
Radio cigar. Radio cigar. Radio cigar.